take a look now at the situation if you have multiple Win servers. If you have multiple Win servers, you will want to set up replication between the Win servers. So here in the Wins console, I've got Computer 2 listed. An easy way to manage Wins on multiple computers is simply to right-click the Wins snap in here and say to add a server. So I set up Wins to run on Computer 3 as well. Now that that's refreshed, we see we have 2 active Win servers. Now to do comparison of records, Computer 2, right now, has records that are only for Computer 2. I pointed Computer 2 to itself to use Wins. Computer 3, same thing. So on Computer 3, we'll look at the records that are registered on Computer 3 Win server. And there we have the Computer 3 records on Computer 3 Win server. Now what we're going to do here is set up replication between the 2 Win servers. The reason being, clients pointed towards Computer 2 still need to be able to resolve NetBIOS names to IP addresses of records on Computer 3. So to do that, we need to have a full Wins database of all records. So what we'll do is set up replication partners. So Computer 2 will say new replication partner, and we'll specify Computer 3 as the replication partner. And we'll do the same thing on Computer 3. Set up a replication partner and say Computer 2. So let's look at the properties of this replication partner. So basically there's 2 kinds of replication, push replication and pull replication. Pull replication is such that Computer 2 will pull any new changes from Computer 3 at a certain interval of time. Push replication would be Computer 2 pushing out to Computer 3 after a certain number of changes to records that are registered with Computer 2. Now for this example, I'm going to go ahead and reduce the replication interval to 1 minute so we can have our example go pretty fast here. And for push replication, I'm going to say number of changes before replication. After one single change, it'll push right away. So this will help us with our example, but in the real world, you'd want to be careful. You probably don't want your Win server pulling from another Win server every minute. So you might certainly increase that interval. Same with push replication. You might say push every 10 changes or every 20 changes. You certainly don't want it pushing every single change, because that would cause a lot of network traffic. So the replication partner type here, Computer 3 is a push-pull partner because we are doing both pull and push replication. You could choose one or the other only. So for example, if you say Computer 2 is a push only, then we can push after a certain number of changes. But we would not pull for the pull interval of time here. And the same thing on Computer 3 does. So Computer 3 has a replication partner of Computer 2. Checking the properties of that, we'll see same thing. The default is a push-pull configuration. So for the replication interval, we'll drop that down to 1 minute to make sure our example goes pretty fast here. And we'll push, after a single change, we'll push replication to the other server. Finally, notice that if you right-click a replication partner, you can choose to replicate immediately. And that's what we're going to do. We'll start push replication immediately, and we'll start pull replication immediately. And we'll do the same on the other computer. Let's take a look now at replication partners' properties while we're waiting for the replication to occur. We'll just right-click and choose Properties. Now for replication partners' properties, you can say to only replicate with partners. We have a push replication tab. You'll notice that when this Win server boots up, when Computer 2 boots up, then it's going to start push replication immediately to all other Win server partners. You may not want that. You can uncheck that certainly, or you may want that. So at service startup, it'll immediately start replicating. Same for pull replication. When the Win server starts up, it can start pulling any changes from other Win servers. That's more likely for a service startup. And you can put down a default pull replication interval of time, and you can put down a default push replication interval of time. Finally, on the Advanced tab, there's a feature with Wins to be aware of called Automatic Partner Configuration. This is kind of tricky. What this does is it uses multicast. And this allows you to get around having to configure push and pull replication partners. So if you enable this, the Win servers will find each other through multicast and configure each other as push-pull partners through multicast. Problem is, this can cause a lot of traffic. Every 40 minutes, this server will multicast out trying to find other Win servers and take advantage of that feature. Well, if you have a relatively static environment, that's wasted traffic on your network. That's wasted bandwidth. So typically you do not enable that. They say that you might enable that for environments where the admins are not savvy enough to set up Win server replication. Okay, so hopefully replication has taken place now. Let's take a look here. So on computer 2, let's look at all records. We'll display records, and we'll choose to find all records at this point, and we should have records from server 3 now. And there we go. So we've got some computer